Have you got a lot of wasted space underneath your bed? Well, in this one, I'm going to show you how you can better utilise that space by making some of these underbed drawers. Before we make a start on actually making the drawers, first we need to get some measurements. What kind of space have we got to work with underneath our beds? Now, I like to start with the drawer fronts first and then work my way back. So the first measurement that I got was the width that I had to play with. And I got this measurement by measuring between the back leg and the front leg to my bed. I then needed to get a height for the drawer fronts, and I did this by measuring from the floor to the underside of my bed rail. Now I've got an overall dimension for what can be split into drawer fronts, but before I do that, I'll first add a 1 cm border all the way around. This will give me some wiggle room and it will make sure that the drawer fronts will fit later. With that done, I can now split it up to form how many drawers I want. Now in my case, I'm going to go with 2 large functioning drawers and 1 full drawer front, and that's because I've got a bedside table next to my bed. So when you've got your drawer fronts divided how you want them, also add a 1 cm gap between them just to give you that wiggle room. So that's the drawer front sorted. Now we can work our way back. I like to add a 3 cm gap on both sides, and that'll give us the width of the drawers. Now in terms of the depth, we need to measure how wide the bed is, and we need to divide that measurement by 2. Now I also like to take off about 5 cm just to make sure that we have got that extra bit of space behind and that the drawers will sit flush on the edge later. And once we've got both of those measurements, that's going to be the overall size for the drawer trays. The other thing you need to think about is how deep do you actually want the drawer trays to be. Now these don't have to be full depth. I like to go with roughly 15 cm, but this will vary depending on the height of your drawer fronts. You obviously don't want the trays to be taller than the drawer fronts themselves. And it's also worth keeping in mind, if you're going to be adding wheels to the bottom like I will be, add those measurements onto the depth of the trays, and as long as that measurement is less than the height of the drawer fronts, you're good to go. With all those measurements sorted, it's just a case of getting the pieces cut now. I opted to use 18mm plywood because the drawers I'm going to be making are quite large, they'll be holding a lot of weight, so I want them to be strong. But if you're only having small drawers, it's not going to hold a lot of stuff, you could get away with MDF too. Now you can cut the pieces yourself. You could do it the old fashioned way with a handsaw. If you've got access to a circular saw, that'll speed the job up a lot. Or you could check at your local hardware store where you buy your plywood or your MDF from and see if they can cut it for you. Now a lot of places they will just cut the pieces for free, and other places they may offer you 10 to 15 cuts for free and then charge you something like 50p a cut after that, but it's well worth asking. So in front of me here, I've got the cut pieces ready to make the 2 drawers. We'll move on to the drawer front and the fake drawer front a little bit later on. So I've got the 2 bottom pieces and I've got the 8 side pieces. We're going to start by getting these put together to form a framework. And for the construction on the frame, I'm literally going to start by drilling a couple of pilot holes in at the corners, adding some wood glue, and then securing in place with a couple of screws. This isn't the strongest joinery method, but we'll make up for that later. I'll repeat that for all 4 corners, and then I can add a bead of glue around the bottom side of the frame, drop the bottom piece of plywood into place, and repeat the process. Drill some pilot holes and secure in place with screws. And with that done, it's time to add some extra strength, and I like to do that with wooden dowels. Simply drilling a hole through the corners, adding some wood glue to a wooden dowel, and hammering it into place will add a ton of strength. I do this to all 4 corners, and I do it to the bottom as well. For the paint on the bottom of the drawers, I'm going to be going with a matte black. Now I know matte black isn't going to suit everyone's decor. You can of course change this colour to suit whatever your bedroom decor is, but I would highly recommend going with a dark colour. Even if it's a similar shade to what you've got in your bedroom, go dark, because if you can see any gaps between the drawer fronts or you can see round from the side, having a darker colour will hide it a lot better than a light colour. If these was painted white, for example, a slight little gap and you'll see that white a mile off, so always go dark for the bases. So with the main drawer bases painted now, I'm going to turn my attention to the false drawer front. I've already got that drawer front cut here, that was all done for me in store, but I'm going to cut 3 more pieces. The first couple are going to be 2 triangles, and then the last piece is just a scrap rectangle. And those are going to get joined together in the same way as the rest of the construction for these drawers, just with some wood glue and screws. to make the drawers slide in and out a lot easier, I'm going to be adding some wheels to the undersides of them. That seems to wheel nicely. I can do the other one now. So for the drawer fronts, I'm going to be covering it with this fabric. It's kind of like a tweedy, maybe even like a linen. I don't know how to describe fabric. I'm not an upholsterer, and that's why I want you to take what I do next with a huge pinch of salt. I don't know if it's the right way to do it. I think it'll look okay in the end, but if you know a better way, by all means, please do it that way instead. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to secure it in place with a staple in the middle. I'm going to add another couple, roughly at either end, just to help hold it in place as well. With those first ones in place, I'm now going to add some spray adhesive. I don't think this is needed. I just think it's going to add me a little bit of peace of mind that there's a couple of ways that the fabric's actually being kept on there. I can fold this back over and pull it all taut and secure it all in place now with staples. I don't think the front looks too bad, and you'll never see the back really, so that'll do. And now I can attach the drawer pull using the hole that we drilled earlier. Now all I need to do is get it centred on the drawer body, which in my case means that I need a 3 centimetre overhang on both sides. I can add a couple of screws just to help hold it in place. So I am going to need to add some weight on it. This back piece, it just needed to be a bit longer, but I'm going to have that much stuff behind there. I'm bound to have something that can sit on this just to stop it toppling forward. It'll do. So I got the full straw front in place. I got my bedside table roughly where it needs to be, and thankfully it looks like it'll fit. Let's get the actual drawers in place now. These underbed drawers have made a much better use of the space. I'll be able to keep all my prized possessions in here. I'm really pleased with how these drawers have turned out. I think they look a lot neater just from the outside. You haven't got any glimpses underneath of all the rubbish that's kept under the bed. Plus, it gives much easier access to the rubbish that's kept under the bed. Having them on wheels means that I can easily slide them out, get what I need to get, and then slide them back into place when I'm done with what I need. I really hope that this video has inspired you to have a go at making some for yourself. At the end of the day, it's a couple of trays on wheels with some drawer fronts stuck on the front, but it makes a big difference in my opinion. If you like this one, please make sure you click that like button, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and click the little bell icon next to it. That way you'll get a notification as soon as you upload a new video. Thank you all for watching. What else could I get in here?